can't get really, you know, into your mental state.
There you go.
That's the rotation, baby. He looks excellent. That's what you expect from a guy of the magnitude of Bernard Hopkins.
There you go.
You know, the days you don't really feel like pushing yourself, that happens. I tell myself he's training now. I gotta get energized, mentally and physically.
For Hopkins, the process of preparing for Pavlik continues long after he leaves the gym.
If I look at his record, I see 3 names out of 34 fights that I know of. Do I falsely tell myself, why the hell should I train hard? The man only fought 3 people that anybody know of. And so I train not by the record, which can be deceiving, but I train by what I see. And what I see gives me a better outlook on what to do.
See that right hand? It's a hell of a right hand. Dangerous. What are we gonna do about that one, Azim?
Put it in the same drawer we put Trinidad left hook in.
Bernard has mastered the defensive part of boxing. He has to kind of get back to being the younger, more dangerous Bernard Hopkins.
That's enough.
Yes.
That's enough.
Not every shot has to be a bomb, but he has to be more selective and a little bit busier. Because one thing about Kelly, he's coming, and he's not going to slow down.
If he beats Pavlik, it erases, in the view of a lot of fans, the very close decision losses to Jermaine Taylor and Calzaghe. He doesn't just get a chance to win 1 fight, he gets a chance to win 4 fights if he wins this fight. And if he loses, so what? I'm 43 years old. Who would have expected me to beat this young lion?
But after 20 years in the ring, the prospect of defeat is something Bernard Hopkins still refuses to accept.
He loves to prove the writers wrong. He loves to prove the fans wrong. He loves to prove his opponents wrong. Kelly Pavlik, he believes in himself. He thinks he's going to win this fight. Bernard knows it, and Bernard wants to prove Pavlik wrong. He would love to give Pavlik the first loss of his career.
It's at an old Youngstown warehouse where the groundwork for Kelly Pavlik's undefeated record is laid. Pavlik labors through his conditioning workout under the watchful eye of Coach Paul Dunleavy.
What we saw in Kelly when he first came down here was an incredible work ethic. It's phenomenal how he can change his body and get in phenomenal shape very, very quickly.
Pavlik has been incorporating these workouts into training since his first fight against Jermaine Taylor in September 2007.
He says him getting up in the 2nd round, that had a lot to do with his tire training and stuff, that he had the strength and power to get back up and keep fighting.
That comeback against Taylor earned him the middleweight championship. The fight against Bernard Hopkins, though, is at a catch weight of 170 pounds, 10 pounds above the middleweight limit. What that means here is that the tires are bigger and the exercises tougher.
This is a little different. We're going to try and put a little muscle mass on him, get him up a little heavier, and then cut him back there at the end. So we're going to try and bulk him up. Done.
All we got to do is eat healthy. We don't got to diet. We don't got to kill ourselves. We don't got to put sweat clothes on. I mean, we're going to make the weight with no problem.
But until he fights somebody at a higher weight, you just don't know. You don't know what effect his punches will have on a bigger man.
I think Kelly Pavlik might be unbeatable at 160 pounds. Fighting over that weight, he doesn't look the same. His rematch with Jermaine Taylor was 6 pounds over the middleweight limit, and Pavlik seemed to be dragging a bit. It seemed like the extra pounds did not suit him.
He couldn't double up on his jab, and because he couldn't double up on his jab, he couldn't hide his right hand as well, and he therefore wasn't as effective as a puncher, and he wound up having to outwork Taylor to win a decision.
When I fight at 166 against Taylor, everybody's going, oh, well, he lost his power. Well, how did I actually lose power? Because he didn't let me hit him as flush as he did in the first fight, you know? If anything, I'm going to have more snap on my punches. You know, I'm going to have more balance in my legs because I'm not draining my body to make, 160.
The rematch with Taylor was only the 4th time in 34 bouts a Pavlik fight has gone to the scorecards. And Team Pavlik has no plans for the fight on October 18th to go the distance.
We don't want a close fight with Hopkins. I mean, go in there and beat him and do it convincingly will be an achievement in a career that, nobody else has done.
I think about stopping Bernard Hopkins all the time. I think we're going to make history that night. Not only knocking Bernard Hopkins out, being the first one to knock him out. You know, he's never been stopped. Nothing, never been cut up. You know, if he doesn't foul his way out of this fight, he gets knocked out.
If I were Kelly Pavlik, I would focus on trying to land enough punches to win the fight. Knockout, that's really a crazy thing for them to be thinking about or focusing on.
Nobody knocks Hopkins out because of the style he fights in.
I don't see that happening. I've never seen, Bernard Hopkins in a whole lot of trouble. Even if you catch him with a direct hit, the guy can take a good shot. He's got a world-class chin.
That chin moves into the punch. Anything could happen.
I mean, I really expect for the first 6 rounds that Bernard could possibly be in this fight. But I think from the 6th round on is when the whole tide changes. Every old dog has his day, and his time has come. It's just time to put the old guy down, and it's the end of Bernard Hopkins' era.
We're going to see whether Kelly Pavlik can handle that initial shock after discovering he's been lied to. This guy is not old. I have to change his mind about winning. And that's where the fight starts.
Time keeps moving forward, whether you like it or not. Seconds turn to minutes, which become hours, days and nights, years and decades. In boxing, whole careers, even entire lives, can be defined by vicious instants. Sudden moments of domination and devastation that establish champions in their wake. In successive eras, these two men have established themselves as such champions. 26-year-old Kelly Pavlik in the present, and 43-year-old Bernard Hopkins in the past. On October 18th, they meet in the ring, battling one another as that familiar foe. The clock ticks ominously away. Pavlik, the charismatic favorite, will look to keep pace with it, continuing his ascent to the top of the fighting stratosphere.
Perfect finishing assault by Kelly Pavlik.
While Hopkins, the cagey underdog, defiant as ever, will once again attempt to turn it back.
Hopkins imposing his will and his skill.
Or at least find a way to extract the spirit of youth from a body that's taken 2 decades of punishment. 2 champions and the inescapable realities of time. When the bell sounds, the future will beckon. October 18th, live on HBO pay-per-view. It's the 170-pound showdown between Kelly Pavlik and Bernard Hopkins. On Sunday, October 26th, don't miss the premiere of Calzaghe Jones 24/7. It's a 3-part series following both men inside the ring and out as they prepare for their November showdown. And November 8th, on HBO pay-per-view, it's the live fight between Calzaghe and Jones.